Hello everyone, welcome back to Changing Minds Through Gaming. This is episode 5. It's with Neil of Tape and it's guest starring Henry Brown, the dog. CMTG is a series where we talk about mental health and play video games at the same time. Now, I should warn you beforehand that the footage does look like it came straight from the 1980s. We had a bit of a problem with one of the cables linking to the capture card, and there's not really much we can do about it, so I do apologise. If you want to jump straight to the mental health part of this, we start talking about that at about 4.5 minutes or something. So yeah, enjoy.
Hey mate.
Ollie! Oh, you're going to be a guest? You're not allowed to jump up and
get down. See, Henny, don't know.
Oh, Wii Sports.
Everybody seems really
Don't laugh at the potential. It's not funny.
I'm just laughing at what that's going to look like on the thing. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Do you want to choose the first one?
Oh, you should choose the first one because I have no idea what I'm doing. What am I doing? There we go. Here we go. I have no idea what's going to happen. Just waggling a sword around like a buffoon. Where's me? I don't even know what. I can't. Am I there?
Basically what you do is to hit people, you just whack the thing.
What thing?
The Wii remote. Like
oh,
that.
sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Ah, cool.
It's a very polite way to start.
How do you move back and forth?
You can't. You just get knocked backwards forwards. You can defend using the back button.
Apologies. Ow. You're pretty good at this. This is unexpected. There I was, joining in. Either that or we're both really bad. There was nothing tactical about what I was doing. I was just kind of waggling a remote in the air and hoping.
I don't think there is anything tactical really.
Alright, it's just all about the fury, yeah?
So I was being very polite. And
you were being polite?
I wasn't doing anything. And
I have no idea, I can't hit you. Why am I not even hitting you?
Because I'm defending.
Oh, okay. How do you? I didn't even realise you could defend. That was
the back button. Okay.
Yay! Oh no, you win.
No, that was you.
See, I don't even know if it's me or you. Like doing the thing. It's like, oh good.
See, I was trying to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
Sorry. Be polite again, and then you just hit me off the side.
Well, you got to take your time. No idea what I'm doing at all. You're just waggling your thing in the air. What's that about? Watch out. Watch out. Ah, you win. Alright. It's a lot closer then, now I know how to defend myself.
Henry's attacking me, he's not happy that it...
Yeah, sort him out, Henry. Sort him out.
That's my tactic, though. Just wave it around madly.
Yeah. I don't see what your tactics are. Henry, you prepped me. You don't look massively prepped. Alright.
We can have a Henry cam which I move around.
Yeah.
Wait,
we're playing frisbee, Henry. It's like a virtual frisbee, though. Awful. Same. Henny, you going for it? You catch it next time. Oh. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to help. Oh, that was... Oh, no.
Let's go back.
Dunno.
It's a nice one.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Alright. Yeah, concentrate before you throw now. Yeah! Thank you.
Disappointing, but...
Hardly a display of mastery in frisbee throwing. Let's have it. Over the water. Onto the green.
Oh,
you beauty! Hole in one!
You're too good at this.
I've never been good at anything like this.
That was really
Who knew? It's because I've never had virtual frisbee. You know what I mean?
You just discovered your hidden talent. How important is it to have conversations around mental health?
How important is it?
In general.
Quite often, traditionally, with sort of, I guess, male mental health stuff, it is kind of shoulder to shoulder stuff like this, kind of standing next to each other doing something else, and then it's like, By the way, I'm on the verge of a breakdown. Oh yeah, cool.
Do you think enough people talk about it openly?
Are you just building up to like a hole-in-one through
I'm just
practice?
practicing, that's all.
I'm sorry, I just can't believe I thought, oh, you're playing, oh, he's missed the thing, oh, I've got a hole-in-one in my mind, and you're just like, yeah, slowly. I talk to you about mental health while I slowly.
That's not a hole-in-one.
There's definitely scope for more open conversations, aren't there? And I think
Yeah.
it definitely, in terms of like workplace stuff and things, I guess it's, things would be easier. I think if folks could have a proper open conversation about things without judgment in the same way you would talk about physical health and things.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, depends what it is. But I think, everyone, the thing you learn is that most folks are in, you've got bogey, just saying.
That's come miles off that.
No, you've got bogey. No, yeah, I think it kind of makes sense if it was more open to, because I think what happens quite often is that when you do have those conversations, you find out that other people are experiencing the same thing you're experiencing, or similar experiences and stuff, and there's a kind of a commonality to that stuff that kind of runs through everybody, I guess. I've completely lost my trail of thought because I've got a frisbee in my hand. Sorry. This is hard. All right.
I think the problem is with more distance, there's more chance for things to go wrong.
And getting it into the sea, which I think is where that one's headed. Oop, trees.
Tree.
Come on. Out of bounds. What? Right.
I think that a lot of people, because not a lot of people talk about mental health, they kind of get scared by having the conversation because they don't hear it every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess really like a lot of people talk about mental health with their close friends, and they might say they're going through
bad.
say a depressive episode or something.
Yeah.
And they'll only really share it with the people really close around them. And that kind of might be what generates the whole stigma around it a bit.
I guess the benefit of talking to a sort of close friend or something about things is that you kind of, straight off, see. Is that there's stuff you don't have to talk about, but then sometimes some of the assumptions of the things that you don't have to talk about are the things that then make it a more interesting conversation with someone, less.
And what kind of things do you think you could do to kind of encourage more people to talk about it? Because I guess it's kind of like encouraging it more in like the social situations that people go out to, like if they go to the pub or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to like get people to pay attention to it more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of a gradual process, isn't it? So like,
yeah, it's a hard thing to kind of. I guess just letting people know that it's kind of all right, because it's a hard thing to try and encourage, if you see what I mean.
yeah.
Like you can't, because you either want to talk about that stuff, or you don't want to talk about that stuff, or.
Yeah.
I think letting people know it's all right to talk about that stuff is probably, look, I'm going off on a tangent again. Letting people know it's all right to talk about that stuff, I guess, is the key thing. I guess there are things that are going on, like things like the sort of men's shed and stuff, that kind of movement.
Yeah.
It's quite encouraging, and that's the whole idea of sort of,
What is men's shed, if you could like describe it for people who don't know what it is?
Yeah, so men's shed, I think it was set up with, I do know about this, so it was set up with the Red Cross. They're set up independently so each branch, so I think there's one in Colwyn Bay, there's a she shed now as well. So initially it was around getting people working on different projects, but obviously in doing that, getting people out of isolation, and I'm sure that's not how they describe themselves on their website, but you should go and have a look. Yeah, the idea is that folks are just getting together to work on stuff, so it's reducing isolation, it's reducing loneliness, and then people kind of have a chance to talk about that stuff with their folks if they want to talk about that stuff.
I think it's a good idea because like isolation is quite a big thing.
Yeah.
And it's nice to kind of have places where people can go to deal with that. And I think maybe that's one of like the big ways we can tackle the problem around mental health, is like having community centres and things like that.
Yeah.
To kind of be like the main focal point for everybody to kind of understand that it's okay to talk about. I think I won that time, by the way.
You did win. Yeah. No, I clocked it. I wasn't just like scrolling up the screen and going, no, cool. No. Let's do something easy. I find it really hard to do. Come on. What do you make of it, Annie? Alright, here we go. Which screen am I looking at? I'm looking at that one.
Left one.
So we're kind of like the wrong way around. Alright. Get down, mate. Ow, don't eat my arm. Ow! Right. Henry, maybe table tennis isn't the one. Okay, should we pause for a second? Henry goes feral.
Okay.
Right. Henry, you're going to have to leave the room.
What are you doing?
Why that one? We've been playing on it all the time. Why that one? Oh,
My serving.
you're serving.
It's match point, so you have to win this, otherwise I win.
Okay, I think I might do it. Nice. I think at least like the expression is right on like her face is just like, what? That is how I'm feeling.
If someone asked you to explain mental health, like briefly, what would you do?
Explain
What do you
mental
say to
health. So I normally call mental health brains, so it's normally brain stuff
Mm.
is my kind of how I refer to it.
If someone said to you define physical health, would you be able to answer them any better, or do you reckon it's stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
okay, yeah, fair enough. I guess it's like the wellness of your, it's like how healthy you are, or how, and then I guess, that's a terrible description. God, I think I normally would, if my brain hadn't kind of just gone completely to sleep.
That makes a lot of sense, like how healthy your body is, could be physical health, and then how healthy your mind is, could be mental health.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that is
Because it's kind of interesting that people kind of, I just hit myself, that people don't compare the two very often, like mental health and physical health.
yeah,
Because a lot of people know how to describe physical health and all the kind of,
yeah.
it's a much more talked about thing, and mental health's not really so much.
No, you're really right. Like, I guess you're kind of used to that because it's a conversation that you have,
Yeah.
you know, growing up and stuff. People talk about that, so it is more of an open thing. And I guess if there was more open dialogue, yeah, you learn the names of the different things, the different ailments and things, don't you, with physical health, and you learn them from your guardians, and you learn them from your friends. Whereas I guess mental health stuff, you know, for ages I didn't really know. I had a very different perception of what anxiety and depression was, for instance, and then like working out the difference between the two things, or discussing the difference between the two things, and realising that they're interlinked, but at the same time being able to identify when one thing is one thing and anxiety is anxiety, and when depression is depression, and when the two things are kind of moulding into one,
Yeah.
and how they work together, I guess. I mean, and that's like into my late 30s till I've really properly, well, I still haven't really properly got my head around it, but you know, gained an understanding that actually isn't just depression, it isn't just, you know, I guess it's calling everything brains is probably got something to do with that. That's a really good example of what you're talking about, because it's just like saying, all right, well, everything's to do with brains. There we go. It's just there's something wrong with my brains. I was saying the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine about like nature and things, and how that affects sort of mental health for me. This is find that really important, like being outside, and quite often the thing to kind of take me from that place, rather than having a conversation with someone, is either like sort of connecting with nature in some way, or kind of, you know, Henry's pretty good at that as well, when he's not jumping up and down and trying to tear your arm off because you've got a Wii controller in your hand. He's, you know, it's just that thing where you kind of like, well, you have to get up. You have to get up and you have to get on with stuff.
Yeah.
Because the dog needs walking, or you know, or I was saying to my friend, this was on a podcast with a friend of mine called Sharkey, who's doing a sort of music and mental health podcast called Hobo, Sapien. If I can promote that on here as well, maybe do a little link somewhere. And he's, but you heard me basically saying the same thing. Yeah, I was just sort of remembering a time a little while back where I kind of got to the point where physical exercise was quite important for getting out and kind of getting on with stuff to get me out of the house, because it'd just been kind of in the house for a long time and not wanting to go out, see anyone, do anything. And so I got my mountain bike out, which I really enjoy, like mountain biking and stuff. And I'm sure anyone who's sort of had that experience knows how hard it is sometimes just to do the most basic things. And so it's kind of getting it out, getting into the car, driving to the mountain bike track place. And I got out of the car, flat tyres, had to pump the tyres off and things, and then got my gear on and was kind of at a point of, I think part of the anxiety stuff that I sometimes have is kind of a little bit paranoid and things as well, so I was kind of a little bit weirded out by folks in the, the idea, well, you haven't seen anyone for ages, you kind of see people in a car park all sort of energised and pumped for going mountain biking, and it's a bit like in at the deep end. And so I just kind of, so I got my bike ready, got ready to go out and stuff, got on the bike, put my foot on the pedal, turned the pedal away, and the derailleur snapped off the back of the bike. It's like, well, this is just it. You know what I mean? And then everything was just imploding, because it was just like, everything I was doing was like, despite my feelings or my emotion at the time. And so I just kind of put the bike back in the car, got in to drive home, and was just sat at the steering wheel, just like, right, that was my ticket out of this sort of feeling of what I do. And like a gold crest just came and landed on the branch in front of the way the car was, and I was like, and that just shifted everything. It's like, no, your bike's just broken, just take your bike back, get it fixed. Another time will come to come and do this, you know what I mean? And you've done the big thing, which is getting out of the house, getting out of bed, getting out of the house. And, and it's just sometimes the smallest things that can kind of like change, just remind you, and for me quite often that's kind of got something to do with nature. And well, I mean, music's a big thing as well, like the kind of effect of music on the brain and stuff I find really interesting. There's so much of it we don't know. It's like sort of deep ocean stuff. There's no, you think that would then encourage more dialogue and more interest and more kind of scope for conversation and things, but
I think it just maybe comes down to people being scared of it again. Because of how unknown it is. It's a tight one.
That was a tight one,
You won't know.
I found it a lot easier to talk playing bowling than the other ones.
I think there's something quite nice about like going outside and just kind of connecting with nature. It's kind of very primal, I guess, to being a human. You kind of just, it's nice to kind of get away from everyday life for a bit, and it helps put things into perspective a bit. So I like that too. I like going for walks and stuff. It's kind of can help kind of clear your head and give you space to think things through properly.
I mean, I think I do talk to people. Like, I'll try and make sure I think one of the key things is to not, even when you feel like the last thing you want to do in the world is speak to someone. Sometimes it's the dog walking stuff. Right in the middle again. It's no good. Like dog walking and things, if you're out and about, quite often you just have a bit of a conversation with people, and that's enough to kind of make you more aware of other folks in the world and kind of snap you out of things a little bit as well.
Do you think that pets play a big role in helping you with mental health? Because they can combat loneliness and things.
I definitely think, just the idea that you kind of, what do you reckon?
I reckon go for the one closest to you, so that they might
try and knock some out in the back. I reckon like just through the middle. I think pets have definitely got a kind of role to play in kind of helping stuff, particularly in sort of like forcing you to be out and about and doing stuff. I mean, dogs particularly, I guess. It's that thing to just take you out of the moment, isn't it? And out of or maybe it's not taking you out at the moment. Do you find you sort of spiral with stuff in terms of you'll have a thought along the lines of something that will kind of be an anxiety-inducing thought or something, and then it'll kind of then it's like that's spiraling effect.
It's like overthinking. You start thinking about one thing and it just keeps getting more and more extreme.
I think it's really important to be aware of what you're thinking and where you're at with stuff. But I guess the thing that the pets or the kind of brushes with nature kind of thing stops is the spiraling, because it just makes you stop that process a little bit, and just it puts a comma in there, doesn't it? It just says, all right, you know what I mean?
It almost like reminds you that other people are still kind of getting on with their normal lives, and even though it's a cat or a dog, they're still living happily and stuff.
I know, you win. You win.
In the tree.
Come on. How? Why is it not moving?
I don't know.
It's very silly. Point the Wii remote at the screen and press A. Yeah. Does that mean we're on the... Can we swap sides? There we go. That's me then, isn't it? Cool. All right. Ah! I don't want to see my face on this thing. My concentrating face is going to be bad. Sorry, do you want to glorify glory in your win for a little longer, or?
It's all right.
How about you? What do you what sits in the relationship with sort of stress and anxiety and depression for you? Are there kind of particular triggers or anything, or?
I don't know. I think I have a tendency sometimes to work, like with university and school, to work too hard and burn myself out.
Yeah.
And not take into account that it's important to take breaks and things like that. I think that kind of leads to stress, and for a long time I didn't realise I was doing it. So it was like...
And what do you think in your personality makes you do that? Why can't I chop the thing?
I think it's just like, I'm a completionist, so I like finishing things once I've started, and it's hard for me to like, if I'm doing like a piece of homework or something, it's hard for me to put it down and carry on again later.
Yep.
I think it takes me quite a while sometimes to get back into the swing of it as well. But,
Yeah, you're a completionist, right? That's it. And as we're going into it. Is there a kind of perfectionism thing there as well?
Yeah. It's kind of like if I do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability, and that kind of takes a lot of energy as well.
I can't do this and
talk. I think maybe we're too competitive as well.
Yeah, maybe that's one of them. It's like, too competitive, too. No. What's that noise?
It's match point. Both of us. Yes. That's tight though.
Yeah.
That's close.
I guess if you're playing tennis, you're not playing on your own. So you've got
it's a social science
contact with people. I can't do this and keep a normal face. I have to do my competitive tongue-biting face. No. Why don't I go? I don't seem to go. Just taking out a member of the crowd. That's all right. Yeah, no, I think exercise is important, and I'm not that I'm very good at it, but yeah, I think if you've got something like tennis and things that you're doing, that's it.
Do you think that going forward the situation around mental health is improving? Or do you think it will improve?
I think it is improving. I think it is improving. Continuity, that's going to be quite hard to edit. I hope so. There's kind of, I guess, culture shifting around it a bit, isn't it? And we're doing this. There's lots more conversations about mental health out there, and I guess that's part of the way of making sure that it. Oh no! It hit the what?
Bounced off the top
Oh,
of
it
the net.
bounced off the top of the net.
You're taking air shots.
Yeah, I think I'm just sort of slicing.
You're too late.
Yeah, I think there's a delay actually between the controller and the.
I've got the same delay actually. So.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe you're used to that delay. Maybe if you went and played actual tennis now, you'd just be like. Everything. What would that mean if there was a delay on it? You would be. You'd be like in front of the.
I'd be swinging too soon.
Yeah. It's been said actually. Now it swings too soon. Yeah, I think if people are more accepted in the workplace, and then those conversations are happening, and you've got things like men's sheds going on. You've got people making podcasts where they're having conversations about mental health issues and things. I think that kind of opens up that dialogue to hopefully make it a bit more like the same conversations people have about medical things, and like psychiatry and being in the similar realms to biology and stuff, in terms of starting to work out, mapping that stuff out a bit better for people, and would be hopefully where we might be down the line. People getting better at understanding of what's going on in the brain itself, as well as because it is still so
unknown.
And keep up doing good things with this, and I hope other people are less focused on the game and more able to have a conversation at the same time.
It's alright, because yours could have good entertainment value.
Okay. We were savaged by a dog halfway through. Cool. All right, thanks Niall. Thank you, man. Cheers. I've still got I can't get rid of my Connect. Cool. Nice work.